Hi there, I'm Dave Hearn, and I'm the creator of Star Hopping. And this Star Hopping Extra will present Darkness over Brasstown Bald, our documentary of the Great American Solar Eclipse and our experience during eclipse weekend. We'll share our exciting eclipse story right after this. Stay tuned. Hey, hello, hi, and welcome to episode 60 of Star Hopping. I'm Dave Hearn, and I'm feeling just radiant to be your host. In this series of programs, we'll show you the most beautiful sights in the night sky and explain exactly how to find them with your binoculars or your telescope. So now that the eclipse and all its drama is finally over, I'd like to share with you all the events that occurred over eclipse weekend, August 19th through August 21st, the day of the eclipse itself, in my documentary entitled Darkness Falls over Brasstown Bald. We arrived in the North Carolina mountains on Friday, August 18th to try to avoid all the predicted eclipse traffic. But for us, all the eclipse events would start on Sunday the 20th, when we headed up to Brasstown Bald to meet with the Cradle of Forestry Interpretive Service team there to do some final planning for the big eclipse event. The next day, 450 paid attendees would arrive on the mountain to witness the eclipse. I would be acting as eclipse educator, presenting 2 informational talks in the morning and calling out the eclipse events during the day over the PA system on the summit. Brasstown Bald towers nearly 4,800 feet above sea level, and it provides glorious views of the surrounding Blue Ridge Mountains. It's the highest point in the state of Georgia and was an incredible place to view the eclipse. The next big event of the weekend was upon us, my speaking engagement at the brand new Union County Schools Fine Arts Center in Blairsville, Georgia. Approximately 500 eclipse enthusiasts attended my informational talk about astronomy, our place in the galaxy, and the impending stellar eclipse.
Hello. Happy pre-eclipse day. Yay! We're so glad that you're here. I'm Renee Dybert. I work with North Georgia Technical College, and the Technical College is the presenting sponsor for the Chamber event this year. And on behalf of North Georgia Technical College, I wanted to welcome you to the kickoff of the Blairsville Eclipse Experience at Astronomy Night. You're going to be hearing some really neat information this afternoon, so we're excited. Tonight we'll be enjoying a great educational program and in-depth knowledge about the stars and the moon and the sun, the solar system, and of course this once-in-a-lifetime eclipse experience. Now, we'll get to the speaker that you came to hear. Without further ado, our special guest, David Hearn, is ready to share his knowledge and his expertise with you. Take it away, David.
Thank you very much. Hey, hello, hi, and welcome to the Great American Solar Eclipse.
Is this off? It's off. Okay, good.
All right, thanks. All right, so the Great American Solar Eclipse tomorrow, finally, we're going to have it. Is everyone excited? Right? Awesome. Yep, we are definitely excited. As amateur and professional astronomers, we've been planning for this for years, actually. I know I've been doing it for about the last year. I just want to welcome all the folks on Facebook Live. We're doing a live stream on 2 different Facebook channels here, so welcome to all the folks out in the internet here. My other big thing that I'm doing is my bi-weekly show on YouTube called Star Hopping. And just like I said, in every week I have three objects that I show folks how to find it by using some bright star in the sky that you can find, and then using fainter stars to move to hop toward the target that you're particularly looking for. We find a target such as this. This is the Andromeda Galaxy. It's a beautiful, beautiful galaxy that you can find. This is the farthest thing that you can see with your naked eye. It's 2.5 million light years away. And this galaxy contains 5 trillion, with a T, stars. So when you go out to the night sky, if you can find, and it's beautifully dark in this area, you can go out at night, and this one's visible maybe in a month or 2 later in the evening, let's say 11 o'clock or so. And if you go out in the night sky, look in the eastern sky, and happen to know where to look, you can look up and you'll see with your naked eye a fuzzy patch in the sky, and that is the Andromeda Galaxy. And when you look at that, the light that you're seeing when it enters your eye left that galaxy 2.5 million years ago. This is very, very similar to our home galaxy, the Milky Way. And if this was the Milky Way, we would be out here in the outer arms, about 2/3 of the way out. And our star rotates around the center of this galaxy. So the difference with the Milky Way is that we're inside it, right? This one, we're looking for the galaxy from the outside. But when we look at a galaxy like this, we're looking out through our galaxy, looking out through all the stars in our galaxy, and then past that to see something like this, the Andromeda Galaxy. So this is the incredible Milky Way that you see when you go out in a dark sky site. This is like Arizona or Utah or someplace like that. When you're looking along that plane of the galaxy, it's very, very thick. So how many people here have seen the Milky Way? You go out at night, a bunch of you. You are very, very fortunate. Most of the country cannot see the Milky Way. I'm lucky enough, being 30 miles south of Orlando, that I can see it. But so this is the Milky Way. But all the other things there are stars. There's tons of stars. There are more stars up in the sky than there are grains of sand on every beach on Earth. Before I completely blow everyone's mind, let's think about our own little neighborhood in the galaxy. Does anybody know what the closest star is? Just shout it out. Okay, there you go, Alpha Centauri. So Alpha Centauri is about 3.5 light years away. So the light, I talked about the light from Andromeda. The light that comes from Alpha Centauri, or the little star that's orbiting it called Proxima Centauri, it's a little bit closer, takes 3.5 years to get to us. So that's even incredibly far. The speed of light, as fast as it is, takes 3.5 years to get to us. So there was another answer I was looking for. There is a closer star, and it is the sun, right? The sun is our local star. It's 93 million light years away, 8 light minutes. So again, we're not looking at the sun as it is in real time. We're looking at it 8 minutes ago, okay? We're looking at Alpha Centauri 3.5 years ago. We're looking at the Andromeda Galaxy 2.5 million years ago. So the size of the galaxy is massive. But the one thing that I want to kind of make you think about is, so we live on a small rocky planet that's orbiting this star. And our little rocky planet has a single natural satellite, a very large one as planets go, the size of the moon compared to the size of the planet, that is orbiting that little planet. And just by some incredible happenstance, that moon, that natural satellite, is going to pass in front of this star. So we're calling this event a solar eclipse. That comes from the root name of this local star, and it's called Sol. We live in the solar system, the solar system, right? And it's a solar eclipse. But what I maintain, what I want you to think about tomorrow, is that we're not actually seeing not just a solar eclipse, but a stellar eclipse. We're going to see our moon move in front of our local star. So it's a little bit of an interesting perspective that you just got to remember, just like all of those thousands of stars that we saw in front of the Andromeda Galaxy, we're just one of those. And we have the particular, incredible geometric setup that we actually will see a total stellar eclipse tomorrow. We encountered very little traffic on our 1-hour drive from our cabin in Murphy, North Carolina to Brasstown Bald, which lies slightly east of Blairsville, Georgia. We encountered more cars than usual to be sure, but nowhere near the bumper-to-bumper traffic jams that were predicted. We were first in line and arrived at the summit shortly before 9 o'clock a.m. I had to scramble to load in all my gear before my first talk in the Mountaintop Theater scheduled for 9:30.
Monday, August 21st, 2017.
Absolutely.
About 12:40 p.m. We're waiting for first contact.
I was fortunate to be positioned on the top balcony of the tower with my gear, and it was an advantageous point to address the crowd with my frequent updates on the PA. All right, everybody, so in the talks that I made, I said I was making a documentary for the eclipse. So I'd like everybody to wave up here, make some noise for the eclipse. Yay, come on. All right. We're going to have a great day today. The sky's great. And are you enjoying the bites being taken out of the sun there? Yeah. All right. Have a great time.
So what's happening?
See the crescent images here? When the eclipse progressed to about 60%, I used a normal kitchen colander to show everybody the pinhole camera effect caused by the colander's holes as it projected tiny solar crescents on the ground.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's great.
See?
Cool. Cool.
See the crescents?
I got.
See the crescents?
That's cool. Are you kidding me? No, it's on the ground.
Look.
Which one's the actual sun?
All of them. See, normally what we see is this, right?
Yeah.
Pull it back,
Wow.
and now you've got crescents, yeah.
Trying to lay on my back, put your face next to it. Do you have a paper punch? So you gotta be way back.
Yeah, you gotta be back pretty far. Oh, see the crescent suns?
That's
On the floor.
Oh cool!
Yep.
That's very cool.
These are called pinhole camera effects.
Oh, are you filming this?
Yeah. The mood was festive with folks milling around, playing music, and dancing with hula hoops. All right.
You're welcome.
Like way back young when you were a kid. There's a lot to know from this river flow. Don't turn it off.
So right at this moment, we have some pretty heavy cloud cover up around the sun. Kind of a scary thing. We are very, very close. And it's hard to see. But we're getting very, very close. We're 22 minutes out. Really hoping this works out. As the day progressed, the clouds began to build as predicted. The past 2 days had been glorious, with clear blue skies and only small cumulus clouds here and there. But today's cloud cover was much more organized. Nevertheless, the crowd was excited and upbeat with the prospect of the impending eclipse. We're really close here. The light around the area is very strange. So the northwest horizon is starting to darken. We were treated to an excellent view of the moon's shadow approaching us from the northwest. Clouds that had previously appeared white and puffy turned dark and ominous, and sunset colors appeared on the horizon. As totality approached, the cloud cover began to intensify, and everyone was starting to worry that we might miss the main event.
Totality in 1 minute. Watch for the diamond ring.
But at the last minute, the edge of the large cloud that had been obscuring the sun started to dissolve, and the glorious diamond ring and then the wispy corona appeared and delighted all of the eclipse chasers on the summit. Look at the sunset in the northwest. Diamond ring! There we are! Wow. Look at this. There's Venus to the right, you see it?
We have maximum eclipse. Third contact in 30 seconds. Watch for the diamond ring.
Now the northwest is brightening.
Totality has ended.
There's your diamond ring.
Filters back on. I say again, filters on.
So what do you think, everybody? Huh? Fantastic. And we lucked out. We've got a clear sky. So what do you think of the event?
Awesome!
Wasn't it great?
It was breathtaking. Really?
Absolutely.
Truly.
All right, good. So what do you think of it?
It was awesome.
Wasn't it great?
Awesome. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay.
That
Very
was almost
good.
worth going blind for.
So what do y'all think?
Totality awesome.
That was amazing.
Yep. Cool. How'd you like it,
That was
Krista?
amazing.
The best part was the clouds breaking.
Yeah.
Was that, I'm guessing, because it cooled down and
Yes.
let it break
Yes.
apart?
And they say that happens.
You said right.
Yeah. I love that shadow. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think?
Great. Fantastic.
Okay, good.
Yep.
What'd y'all think of that?
That was fantastic.
Oh my gosh, that was.
Mother Nature came.
Yep, right in the last minute.
It was worth the deductible, the 1,200 miles, the overpriced hotel.
Send me your
Hello.
pictures.
What do you think, Sierra?
I think it was great.
How'd you like it, Brianna?
Good.
It's called.
Huh? Yeah, where are you all from?
Iowa.
Iowa. Okay. Yay. Hey, what'd you think of that?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Cloud cleared out just in time.
Yep. And now we have a gorgeous
Now
clear
it's
sky.
Now it's perfectly clear.
Yep, absolutely. What do you guys think of it? Wasn't it great? Hey, what'd you think of that?
It was amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
That was awesome. Really
All
good.
right.
Thanks
Great.
very much.
Yeah, sure. What do you all think of that?
We thought
That was wonderful.
Mhm.
it was fabulous.
Amazing.
Yep.
Time
Giving up, and then it was just there.
Yeah. I really thought we were done for a while.
I did too. It was surprising. Came at
All
the
right.
perfect time.
Cool. Okay, just getting some reactions. What do you all think of it?
Oh, it was amazing.
Wasn't it great?
Explain how that cloud just disappeared.
The temperature drop.
That's
That's what it is. That's what it, and they say that happens.
But that one's still there.
Yeah, well,
You know,
yeah.
it's incredible. That one's still there, been there the whole time. This one just
Mhm.
disappeared,
Yep,
which is awesome.
very, very good. Hey, there you are again. What y'all think?
Incredible.
Amazing.
Like nothing else.
Yeah. All right. What did you think?
I think it was
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right. What do you guys think of it?
Oh, it was awesome.
Very
Good?
good.
You got some pictures?
I got a few.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
awesome.
good. Hey.
Hey.
Excellent presentation.
Oh, very good.
Thank you
glad
for all
that-
your commentary.
Sure, my pleasure.
We're glad
Yeah.
glad you got up all right.
Yeah.
You got up fine.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
A great eclipse. We loved it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
everything
All right.
worked out perfect.
Yes, it did.
You have to give these two guys. No, you two. Without a doubt. She made it come out. She said it's coming.
She
Don't
prayed.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I
prayed.
seen that. Absolutely, it's an amazing thing.
Make a hole, make a hole.
Yeah, yeah, and we tried, and I think we succeeded. Absolutely. You guys love it?
Yeah.
it's good.
When's the
Excellent.
next one? We're coming.
Yeah, 7 years. 7 years. Texas to Florida, right? No, Texas to Maine. Yeah, yeah. Did you love it?
Oh, are you kidding me?
We lost. Yeah. Next year, no. You got to wait 7 years now.
Texas to Florida.
Texas to Maine. Yeah, it cuts the opposite direction. Yeah,
Awesome,
yeah. Yep. Okay.
Clouds part.
Cool.
Sounds like a good bike trip to me.
Yeah.
If we leave now.
Y'all enjoy it?
We did. Awesome. Great experience.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
We already answered this, but
What's that?
we had the huge cloud,
Yeah.
and then is the
Temperature
drop?
Temperature drop.
Broke it up?
That is what people say, and I experienced it just with you. As totality ended and the moon continued in its path, revealing more and more of the sun's disk, the crowd began to disperse. And by the time fourth contact rolled around, there was only a handful of die-hard astrophotographers that had stuck around to catch the last bit of the moon shadow as it left the solar disk. So here's a time-lapse movie of the entire 3 hours of the eclipse event. You can see the significant cloud cover. I set the camera exposure to be automatic, which was probably a mistake because you really can't tell how dark it got. But you can certainly see the tense moments before totality with the heavy prevailing cloud cover. Well, that was the documentary The Eclipse. I hope you found it entertaining. It was a fantastic event and it was very special to share it with 450 of my best friends up on Brasstown Bald. Next time on Star Hopping, we'll be back to hunting the best deep sky objects in the night sky. I'm looking forward to get back to it. So that does it for this week's episode. You can find the show notes on our website at starhopping.org/sh060, where you can comment and leave any questions you may have. You can also contact me personally on Twitter at StarHoppingMan, where I'd love to help you with any astronomy or observing questions. So feel free to reach out with your questions. I am here to help. Well, thank you very much for joining me here, and I'll see you next time with more star hopping tips and tricks. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me here on Star Hopping. I publish new episodes every other week on Thursdays. Make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking on the logo down there in the right-hand corner so you don't miss a single episode. And for some more star hopping content, visit my website at starhopping.org. You can click on this icon right here to visit. See you next time on Star Hopping.